Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namah Vishnupada Krishna Prishta Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisheshai Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarini Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So Hare Krishna and welcome you all to the level 2 Bhagavad Gita classes from ISKCON Mangaluru. So we were actually discussing about the chapter 9, which is known as the most confidential knowledge. Okay. So in here, right? So this is a part of the Bhakti Yoga, right? Because in the whole Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections, right? And the mid portion is Bhagavad Gita, right? So, so this is Bhakti. Okay, so this is Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So in that, right, ninth chapter is more confidential. Okay, so the confidential knowledge we'll get here. Okay. So last time we discussed that what is the confidential knowledge. Okay, the confidential knowledge was discussed in chapter 2. Okay, so wherein we got the knowledge of what is the body and soul. Okay, so that's the confidential knowledge. Okay, the more confidential knowledge was being discussed in chapter 7 and 8. Okay, which actually tells about the Lord. Okay, so and the most confidential is discussed in chapter 9, which is nothing but the devotional service to the Lord. Okay. So initially, again, in this chapter, right, the Lord starts with saying that you'll have to listen. Okay. And so he gives the qualifications. Okay. Qualification, disqualifications. So we already know that Arjuna has got a very good qualifications to here, right? Because he is a pure devotee and a good friend of Lord Krishna, right? And then Lord Krishna actually takes through the Aishwarya Gyan, okay? And then he discusses about the worshippers, okay? Who are the worshipper, non-worshipper? So we actually completed until 9.14, okay? So we'll start, and then he discusses about the Mahatma devotees, right? So how does the Mahatma devotees actually do devotional service, right? And post that we will see Krishna is the supreme object and the glories of directly. So this is pure devotional service. Okay, from here we'll see a little bit of Gyan, this Bhakti Mishra. So this is something of mixed devotional service. Okay, and then we'll see about the Devata worships, right? So if you actually do Devata worship, so what will happen to them, right? And to whom it is intended, right? Suppose that we'll actually go through the pure devotional service of the Lord. Okay, there are many important verses which we will be covering. Okay, so these are very useful. Just bear with me. So we'll go to that. Yeah, this was the last shloka which we were actually covering in, right? Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrita namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. So this is about the Mahatmas, okay? So they actually always chant the glories of the Lord, okay, with great determination, and then they bow down for me. And with devotion, okay? Nitya yukta upasate. Nitya, so it's always, okay? This is what we discussed last time. Okay. And then from today's session, we'll actually discuss about this 9.15. So we are starting from 9.15. Okay. So now actually until in 7th chapter we saw 4 types of pious people who can take up devotional service, right? So this is a little bit extension of it. Okay. Jnana yag Jnana yajna chapi anye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena pratatvena bahuda vishwato mukham. Okay. So here, right, we saw there are 4 types of pious people who can take up devotional service. Does anyone remember what are the 4 categories?
One is for knowledge, for gaining knowledge of the Lord.
Hmm.
One is in distress.
Hmm.
Uh, then one who is really he wants to really know about the Lord.
Hmm. Inquisitive.
Inquisitive, yeah, inquisitive. And the fourth one is purely bhakti. I don't know if I'm missing something, Prabhuji.
Artho. Money. So
Money,
one
money.
who wants economic, right? So Artho, Artharthi, Jigyasva, and Jnani. So these were the 4 categories which we saw in, right? So apart from that, so there are few more categories. Okay. So which are still lower than them. Okay. So those are better 4 qualities. Okay. Apart from that, there are 3 categories of people. Okay. So who actually are lower, but say we'll go through them. Okay. So in this, we'll see that Ekatvena. So this is in oneness. Okay. This is the lowest of everything. Okay. Of all the things, right? This is the lowest one. Okay. The reason being here, its lowest is because here one worship himself as one with the Supreme Lord. Okay. So they f- they feel that so at least they have the knowledge that they are not the body and then soul, and then they think that as they are soul, so they are equal to the Lord. So which is not right. Okay. And then the second category. Okay. The second category is Pratyaktvena. So these are duality. So one who actually conquered some form of Supreme Lord and worships. Okay. So those are the people. Okay. So like they take any of the form of the Lord. Okay. And then so not the Lord actually, they take anything as equal to the Lord, right? And then they accept that. So which is also not correct. And then there is a third category. Okay. So which is nothing but known as Vishwatma Mukha. So they basically worship the universal form. Okay. So which is the Vishwarupa, right? So among them, right? So the all among these 3 categories, right? The third one, so which is nothing but the Vishwarupa, say the Vishwatma Mukha, right? So those persons who are in this category, right? So they are at least better because they actually think that the whole the Lord's body, right? So whatever they see in the nature, say they are actually connected to the Lord. So at least they have some form. So that's the reason. Say they are the better, better ones among them. Okay. So this is what the Lord says in. Okay. But if you worship the universal form, say there is an. Can we do that? Can we worship the universal form? Universal form is such a huge one. So we'll see in the next chapters coming in. Say In the universal form, you can't exchange loving relationship with the Lord, right? Because neither you can bathe him, neither you can dress him, neither you can feed him, right? So that way. So we'll see through that. Okay. And then further, Krishna actually takes in, he says that, but it is I who am the ritual, I am the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant, I am the butter and the fire and the offering. So he says that I'm everything because everything emanates from him, right? So that's the thing which the Lord actually tells in. Okay. So here he's actually showing the his practical application. He's showing how to recognize Krishna in the universal form. Okay. So basically, in this picture, if you see, that's an karma kanda portion. Okay. So the rituals, the sacrifice, the oblation fire, right? So everything is Krishna. Okay. So that's what Krishna says in this. Okay. So here, if you see, right, he is the ritual, he is the sacrifice, he is the oblation, he is the fire. Okay. Those in the devotional service, right, are to be understood to have performed all sacrifice recommended in the Vedas. This we saw in chapter 7, right? The last verse, the Lord actually gave a prelude, right? So saying that Yagneshu, Daneshu, Tapaseshu, right? So whatever benefits you get by doing those all activities, but devotional service also you get in. In the next verse, he says that I am the father of the universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge. Okay. The purifier and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sam, and Yajurveda. So he says that everything is me. Okay. So he says that he, if you look in, right, um, the father, mother, support, and grandsire, and everything, right? So these are nothing but the material existence, right? So we have these relationships with Krishna, right? Krishna's marginal energy. So all the relationships which we have, right? So those are creations of the Lord only, right? So those are the creations of the Lord. Okay. So that's the reason some of them appear as our father, mother, grandfather, creator, but everyone is a part and parcel of the Lord, isn't it? So that's the reason he says that I am all. Okay. So all the Vedas also, right? He even says in the coming verses that Vedesha Sarvar Ahameva Vedyo. So he is the one who knows the Vedas, okay, or who gave the Vedas. Yeah. So this is what seeing everything as manifestations of God's creation. So this is say all these relationships which we have got, right? Say which they are all part and parcel of Krishna. That's the reason they are Krishna. Okay. Data implies creator or supporter. Okay. So Omkara and all the Vedas. So everything emanates from him. Because he was the one who actually gave Vedas, who actually taught Vedas to Lord Brahma. And then it came in, right? I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refugee, and most dear friend. I am the creation and annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place and eternal seed. Okay. So he says that he's everything. Okay. So here, right? So goal is nothing but the destination, right? So what is the destination of doing um, different kinds of say bhakti or say whatever yoga process you take, right? What is the destination of it? So it's at the end, it should be the goal is Krishna, isn't it? And then he says that he is the sustainer. Everything is resting, right? So even we saw that the Lord says that the whole universe is resting on him, right? So as the pearls are strung on a wire, right? So in that way, so he says that everything rests on him, right? And then he is the witness, and then he is the best friend, right? Krudam Sarvabhutanam, isn't it? And then he is the witness as a Paramatma, yeah. And then further he'll say that is both matter and spirit. Okay. So these are all about so the three categories which we saw in, right? So in them, okay. So and then he says that, oh Arjuna, I control heat, the rain and the drought. I am immortality, and I am also death personified, both being and non-being in me. So everything is controlled by him. Okay. So that's what the Lord says. The sun, planet, or the rains, everything, right? So everything is controlled by him only. It's because he has delegated those things, isn't it? So those who study the Vedas and drink this Homa juice seeking heavenly planets worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planet of Indra where they enjoy godly delights. Okay. So these are the worshippers of the Devatas. So what happens is with their pleasing the devatas, right? So and whatever sacrifice they do in, right? So they actually go to the heavenly planets where they actually drink so much juice, okay, and then they'll be in heavenly planets, and whatever worship they do in, right? So that indirectly goes to the Lord. So even so, it's like the government, right? If we are paying the state tax or any tax which we are paying, right? Ultimately, it is going to government only, right? So the at the whole, if you see, right, it actually goes to the central government only, isn't it? So these are the functions. Or take the in a state, if you're paying something to at the district level, so at the end that will go to the state fund only, isn't it? So in that way, so whatever um, worships we do for the demigods, right? So that actually ultimately goes to them. Okay, and then um, what happens is you'll gain the pious credits. Okay. So by doing all the yajnas and the sacrifice, right, you get the pious credits. So what happens is it's like a fairy wheel. Okay. So from here you start and then you do your pious credits. So you increase your pious credits, you go to the heavenly planets, enjoy, right? And then you'll actually, once the pious credit is finished, then you again you'll come back. So this cycle of birth and death continues as a fairy wheel, right? So that's what the Lord says in the next verse. When they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasures, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, through the Vedic principles, they achieve only flickering happiness. Chapala Sukha. Flickering happiness is called as Chapala Sukha, which is temporary. Yeah? So, results of the worship, what happens, right? So, they perform yajna, they go to Swarga Lokas, they enjoy until they have their own credits, right? So, and once that's done, they'll come back. Demigod worshippers worship Krishna only, but indirectly. Okay. The path of demigod worships, purified of sinful reaction, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. After exhausting the results of their pious activity, they return to this mortal planet again. So there is no point. It's better to get in human form in the next life. At least the duration would be less, and then you practice Krishna consciousness, and then you go back to ordered. Yeah. So this is the same thing, yeah. So the cycle, fairy wheels is compared to the cycle of birth and death. So now he says, now in between, right, the Lord actually discusses about the devotional service of pure bhaktas. Okay. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana pariyupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogashemam vahamyaham. Okay. So this is a very important verse. Okay. Those who worship me with devotion, meditating on transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. Okay. So this is those who have ananyas, in the sense, those who have um, unpointed devotional service. Okay. So for them, right, the Lord actually takes care of it. So here there are two things. Okay. So one thing is the devotion which the devotee has in, right? So, and the other thing is the Lord says that yoga shemam. Okay. So he'll take care of it. Okay. So one thing is who is having the persons who worship the Lord properly with one pointed concentration, right? So for them, the Lord actually reciprocates. And then how it should be done? Nitya. So it's nitya abhiyuktanam. So always fixed in devotion. If someone does this yoga, okay, yoga is nothing but connecting to the Lord, right? So if we do that, then the Lord actually reciprocates by giving shemam. Shemam is nothing but protection. Okay. The Lord says that He will protect His devotees. Okay. So that's the mercy of the Lord. So the Lord says that He protects and preserves what they have. And so if they lack anything, right, so the Lord actually takes care of them. So if you see in these cases, right, so this is Yoga Shemam Vahamyam. Okay, so in all the cases, right, the Lord actually took care of the devotees because the devotees were having, say, unlimited faith on the Lord, right? So that's the reason if we have always have that kind of bhakti, and so always you remember, and when you're in distress or when you're in need, right, so the Lord actually comes for a rescue. Okay. So whatever a man sacrificed to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. Okay. So now the Lord says that those who worship the devatas, right? So people do not understand that the ultimate thing is the Lord. Okay. So ye api ananya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvita te api mameva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. So this is very important. Okay. So the Lord says that this is a wrong way. Okay. So avidhi purvakam is wrong way. Okay. He says that the persons who are engaged in devata worship, right? So they are not very intelligent, right? Because they are giving indirectly to Krishna. Okay. Say, take the example of the same example has been written by Prabhupada in the purports, wherein he says that if we pour water to the leaves and branches, right, and then we think that, say, the leaves will grow, the branches will grow, will that help? No, right? So we'll have to water to the root so that the tree actually grows in. Similarly, if you want to grow our hand, or if you want to grow our ear or nose, so if you feed it, it will work? No. It has to be given to the stomach, isn't it? So that's the thing. And then even the Lord says that when we know, so so the thing is like in an government organization, right? So there will be different levels of cadres, right? So he says that if we do this kind of worship, right, it is like giving some bribe to the officers, okay? Because you want to get your work done, right? Say you have some material desires, and then you go to the demigods, and then you worship them, and then your um, whatever need is, right? Say mostly people go for becoming powerful, or they want to harm someone or something, some agenda is there, and then they go and then they get that benediction, right? So it is like giving bribe. So Prabhupada writes in that it is like giving some bribe. So instead, we can actually directly go to the Lord itself, who is Lord Krishna. Yeah. So it is a sign of less intelligence because such worship is offered to me only but indirectly. So even that goes indirectly. So all these things we discussed. What happens? What would be the result of such worshippers is they'll actually fall down. Okay. So I'm the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my nature, transcendental nature, will fall down. My true nature. So if somebody doesn't know, so he that all the yagnas are meant for Lord Vishnu, then so he'll actually fall down. So we know, right? So in the earlier chapters we saw Bhuktaram Yagna Tapasam also, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So all those were already discussed, wherein the Lord says that He is the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Okay. So Vedas recommend different yajnas, but one should know that all the final conclusion of all the yajnas is that to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Okay. So he says that those who do not recognize, they'll actually fall down. Okay. And then what happens? There are different kinds of categories of people who worship different people, right? Different things. So this is the verse. So wherein the Lord says, right? So where if we have different tastes, right? So and then we actually worship different things rather than the Lord, right? So Yanti Deva Vrata Devan Pitran Yanti Pitravrata Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja Yanti Madhyajo Apimam. So he says that those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings, and those who worship me will live with me. So he says this gives the destination. So we saw, right? So wherein there are different kinds of worshippers, right? So here the categories are discussed. So if you actually worship the devatas, you'll go to those devata dhams, okay, or devi dhams, okay. And say if you worship to the ancestors, right, then you'll go to that loka. Similarly, if you worship the ghosts, okay, then you'll go to that world of ghosts and spirits, right? And then if you worship the Lord, then you will go to Him. Okay. So this is what has been discussed. So this we saw in chapter 8 also, right? So what happens? So if you look in, those who worship the Lord, they'll go here. Go look. Those who worship Bhutani, spirits, so they'll go here. Okay, they'll go to Pitraloka, and then if this is different dhams which we have in. Okay. So many of the people in the society have the wrong interpretation, saying that if we worship any form of the god, right, so we let in the same goal. Okay, saying that if we worship anyone, because there are 33 crore devatas, and then if most of them have the knowledge saying that if we worship the any god, right, so you'll have the same destination, but that's not the thing. So now these are the pure devotional service. Okay, so the Krishna actually glorifies the devotional service directly here. Okay, so this is one of the famous verse which most of you might be knowing, and then if you don't know, try to remember this. Okay, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktya uparitam asnami priyatatmanah. So, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I'll accept it. Okay. So, the Lord says, in how do you actually do the devotional service to Him? So, He's giving the formula also now. Okay. So, one may say that so I'm not financially good, right? So, hence I can't do bhakti. And some may say that so I don't know how to cook prasadam, so I may not be a fit candidate for doing bhakti, right? And there are different things, right? So wherein people may come in with a different thought process, saying that I can't do this, and every day I can't have festivals, or I cannot do chappan bhog, right? So there are different things people come up, and then the Lord also gives the information of what he needs in. Okay. So in this particular verse, if you see, right, he says Patram Pushpam. Okay. So he doesn't need anything else. Okay. So if you can give him a leaf, a flower, a fruit, some water, okay, but that should be given with bhakti. So the important ingredient is bhakti. Okay. So if the same example we can actually connect to the Mahabharata war, right? So before the war, when Krishna went as a peace messenger, Duryodhana had arranged, say, so many varieties of delicacies for lunch, but Krishna didn't eat it. Krishna said that, thank you for your offers. I don't need this offer because there is no love in it. Rather, he went to Vidura's palace and then he ate the banana peels which Vidurani gave. After ecstasy, she was actually throwing the banana and then giving the peels, but the Lord accepted it because that's the love. Yeah. So we'll have to give these things. Yeah. So if you look, this process of bhakti is very simple, right? So the Lord has made things so simple here, right? So he says that I don't need anything. So if we can give these things, right, and then these are very basic minimum things which we can get and which every family can afford, right? So right from a poorest family to a wealthiest family, right? So you can, these are minimum things which everyone has, right? If someone is growing flowers in their garden, so they can offer flowers. If someone is having tulsi manjaris, tulsi leaves, he can actually offer them, right? If worst case you don't have anything, at least you'll have water. So you can offer that also, right? And then if you see bhakti is very important. So he has stressed two times in the verse. If you do that, then the Lord says that I will accept it, right? So what are we giving to the Lord? Are we manufacturing anything? Nothing. Everything is being given by the Lord itself. And then we are taking some portion and then offering him, and then again he is giving back to us, right? So, for example, you create an delicious halwa for the Lord, okay? With so much of dry fruits, with so much of ghee, and then whatnot, and then you offer to the Lord, and then the Lord is again giving back to you only, right? So it's but the Lord accepts it. If you give it, right? So if you see this Chapan Bhog, right? So the Lord, if we offer these, right, the Lord accepts it, and then we can eat it. So the food which we actually prepare for the Lord and then offer it, right, that becomes sanctified, right, and sanctioned. So you can eat without any problem. Yeah. So, but the only thing is, we should always think of the Lord while doing these things. So, for example, if you're going to the market and then buying fruits and vegetables and all, right? So, if you're not cooking and then if you're not offering, that's a different thing. But say, for example, if you want to offer something to the Lord, so right from the market, if you go and then your focus would be on the best quality which I should actually pick, the vegetables, right? And the other ingredients which actually you can use it in the kitchen, right? And which you can offer to the Lord, right? So it starts from there. Yeah? So that should be the consciousness. And then he never said that he needs any other things. Okay. So most of the time people say that, so why not offer anything else? Because the Lord has not asked. The Lord has asked only these things to offer. Okay. So and then he says that, so that's for the pure devotees. Okay. And then say, if you are not able to do that, right? So then the Lord says that yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhushu dadashi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurusha mad arpanam. He says that, O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform should be done as an offering unto me. Okay. So he says that whatever we do in, okay, whatever we eat, whatever we give in charity, whatever we give in austerity, right? So all these things actually should be given, keeping Lord as the center, right? So you actually give it as an offering to the Lord. Okay. So because uh, say for now, I will take the example, so wherein so something is cooked, okay, so but you didn't have that intention that this is for Krishna and all, okay, so you cooked for yourself. So, but at least if you have cooked whatever you have cooked, it offer it to Krishna, right, and then have it. So that's what the Lord says in, okay, because we all have to work for the maintenance of the body, right? So whatever we do for our maintenance of the body, right? So we cook or we actually do some ceremonies or whatever we do it, right? So let's do it for Krishna. Okay. And then, so if you have surplus money, right? And then if you want to give charity, then maybe you can give the charity to a temple, right? So you can actually give service to the goshalas, right? So if the temple is having any goshala, then actually fund your money, you divert your money towards that, right? So in this way, all the time, right? So whatever work we do, so if we offer to Krishna, right? So then we'll get into this devotional service. So the meditation continues 24 hours, right? So even if if whatever meditation we do, so that should be done for Krishna. Okay. So even this is an important verse. Yeah. So this is what whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give away, whatever austerities you perform, do everything as an offering to Krishna. Okay. So here he says that in this way you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. Okay. So you'll not get into that thing, because what happens is everything you do, so you are actually including the Lord, right? So for that there will be no results. Okay, there will not be any karmic reactions. With your mind fixed on me in the principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So, but we should have that fixed mind. Okay, so while cooking also, right? So there might be some living entities which get killed. Okay, so possibly which are not visible to us. Okay, and then in those things, right? So when we offer to Krishna, so Krishna nullifies everything for us. Okay, and then we can have it. Similarly, whatever we do in, right? So, but the thing is, we'll have to do it in a fixed way. It's not like that in the morning time or whenever I like, I'll do it, and then rest of the time I'll not do it, and then Krishna has to look at me. So that will not happen. So this thing only will happen when all the schedule, so all our agenda points and all our schedule is actually having a fixed goal as Krishna. So then only it will work out. So at times we do, at times we'll not do, and then if we are actually looking for a result, then that will never happen. So and then here the Lord says that I don't, I envy no one, nor I am partial to anyone. I am equal to all. So till now he gave the uh, information about the different types of worshippers, the demigod worshippers, right? So the Vishwarupa worshippers, right? And then he actually told about the pure devotional service. Now he's saying that after listening to all this, right? So one may feel that, say, he has any envy or anything. So he says that I am not envying anyone. Okay. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. Okay. So he says that I envy no one, nor I am partial to anyone. Okay. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. Is a friend is in me, and I am also friend to him. Okay. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyam. So he says that he is not partial to anyone. Okay, so he is equal to everyone. But anyone who actually does service in devotion, right? So he says that he is in me and then he is in him. So here, actually, the example of the gold ring and diamond is being given. Okay, so wherein Prabhupada writes in the purport saying that we are like the gold ring. Okay, so and Lord Krishna is like the diamond studded on it. So when the gold ring is studded with the diamond, right? So both the gold ring and the diamond actually look very beautiful. So they actually match each other, right? So they both get glorified, right? So if you look, the golden ring actually gets uh, the beauty uh, with the diamond, right? And so the diamond also looks more glittery when it is on the diamond and on the golden ring. So that is in that way, right? So it is the combination of both. So it will glitter. Yeah? And then, and the other example is the rain, right? So when the rain falls, it falls on all the places. So on the terrains, on the soil, on the roof, on the road, but it depends upon the vegetation how they actually take it up, right? So if it falls on the fertile land, then trees and herbs and everything will grow, isn't it? So if it goes on a terrain, nothing will happen. The water actually has to go, will flow down, and then it falls in sea, then nothing is going to happen, right? So similarly, he is equal to everyone, but it depends upon us how we actually uh, devote to himself. Depending on that, he'll actually respond. So another crude example is the classroom example. Okay. So what happens is when a teacher is teaching in any school, right? So the teacher is not partial to anyone, right? If there are 40 students in a class, right, the teacher gives the lesson to all 40. Okay. But if you see the first benchers, so they will actually try to catch whatever the teacher is saying. Okay. Similarly, there'll be middle benchers who are kind of 50-50. So they'll listen something, they'll not listen. And then there'll be the backbenchers who will not be interested in the topic itself. Okay. So if when the teacher asks a question, mostly the responses should be from the first benchers. Okay. So then naturally the teacher will have some affection towards them, isn't it? Because they are listening what she is delivering, right? So rather than those who are not hearing, okay. But does she stop taking the class? No, right? So in that way. So and then he says that what happens if one does any abominable activities? Okay. So this is the next verse wherein the Lord actually says that. So this is so here he says that he is equal to everyone. Okay. So now he says that if anyone, right, is doing some mistake, okay, so what happens? Okay. Apichetu su apichetu suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhurev manyate manyateva samyak vishayato hi saha. So he says that anyone who is engaged in devotional service and then he does some abominable activities or he commits some um, mistake, okay, So what happens to them? Okay, so the next two verses, this verse and the next verse is same thing. Okay, so wherein the Lord actually says that while doing the devotional service, right? If someone is doing some thing, so which is say wrong, okay, so he's doing unintentionally, okay, or accidentally is doing it, but he's an pure devotee, okay. So for them, right, he is considered saintly, okay. So one action of doing something wrong doesn't make someone fully, so you can't discard him. Okay. Say, for example, if there are pure devotees who are actually doing their service, okay. Say, and then while doing the service, right? So if they are actually, say, if they are doing some selling of books or whatever it is, right? Say, if they become little bit, at times, if they are going a little bit demanding or so, right? Or so they are insisting to take the books or so, right? But that doesn't mean that, say, is doing something wrong, right? So there will be some instances where they don't do it intentionally. So those things will happen accidentally, right? But they are pure devotees. Okay. So rest all is fine. So one activity somewhere it goes here and there. For them, the Lord says that they are properly situated. For them, there is no problem. Yeah? He says that they'll quickly um, become righteous and attain lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotees never perishes. So he says that, Krishna says that his devotees never perishes. Okay. So he's asking whom? He's asking Arjuna to actually go and tell this. Right. So he says that Kaunteya pratijani name bhaktya pranashyati. Okay. So he says that go and declare this. Okay. That my devotees will never perish. So why can't the Lord say, and then why is he asking Arjuna to tell this? Any guesses? Shubhra Mataji? Hare Krishna, I'm audible, right?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. I don't know the answer, Prabhuji.
Okay. So why the Lord is asking Arjuna, okay, to actually tell this, go and declare this. The reason is the Lord will never ever say he'll never ever break the promises of his devotees. Okay. Say he can actually at times depending on the situation, right? So he may actually break his promise, but he'll never let his devotees promises, right? Say we see the example of Bhishma Pitama, right? So the vow of Bhishma Pitama, so he said that he'll not, so Krishna should not lift in the battle, right? So he should not lift any weapons. So, and Bhishma had a vow that, so if he wanted to kill the Pandavas on that day, right, on the battlefield. So he said he was actually violently throwing so many arrows towards Arjuna, right? And then say he was actually capturing Arjuna, and then he would have done it. And then, but he said that unless Lord Krishna breaks his vow. So Krishna broke his vow, uh, right? So he actually lifted the wheel, and then so at that time Bhishma actually stopped the arrows. He left uh, throwing the arrows, and then he was ready. And then he said that if the Lord is coming, then what else I need? So he was standing, and then he said that you can kill me. Yeah, yeah. So all these things we know, right? So this example we know, right? So what happened? Say here Indra, right? So Indra created the havoc in Vrindavan, right? So where in the Govardhan Leela, we know that he was actually throwing the torrential rains, right? But the Lord actually stopped those torrential rains, and then say he was actually puffed up, Indra, right? So he taught a lesson, and then Indra said that I do not want to continue as the king of the heaven. So he was very morose. Okay. But the Lord said that, so no, you should continue, but don't get puffed up. Yeah. In that way. So, O son of Partha, those who take shelter in me, though they may be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, and Sudras can attain me. So, and the other example is, so mostly we think, mostly people think that only the higher caste people, right? And the rich people can take this devotional service. So here the Lord says that so there is no such category. Okay, anyone can take. Okay, so he says that there is no categorization. Even the lower caste and then the dog eaters also, right? The chandalas. So they can also perform bhakti. So if they take up devotional service, right? So they will also have the equal chance. Okay. There is no category. So Krishna doesn't have any category. Okay. So whether it be lower birth, whether it be woman, whether it be Shudras, whatever it is, right? He doesn't have any category. He says that all are equal to me, right? So anyone takes devotional service, so he'll get the equal results of it, right? Similarly, he says that the same thing for the Raja Rishis, okay? So this is Bali Maharaj, okay? So for the Raja Rishis and Brahmanas, so who are actually saintly kings, right? Therefore, how much more this is so for the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees and the king and the saintly kings, therefore having come to this temporary miserable world, engaged in loving service unto me. So for them, so think what else the Lord will do in, right? So he says that he is equal to everyone, right? And anyhow, so at that time the saintly kings and all were there. So for them, say the devotional service is like a ticket to Golok, right? So even unqualified classes achieve Krishna by mercy. These are Jagai and Madai, right? The drunkards. So with Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, so they got the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So they were unqualified. As of all men will also receive Krishna's mercy. So this is the essence of the essence of the essence. Yeah. So more what else is there? So is there anything more confidential, most confidential? This is more and most confidential. Okay. So this is the Lord actually gives the gist, okay, of how to do the devotional service. So he is ending this chapter, right? And then he is giving how we actually have to serve the Lord. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vashyasi yuktevam atmana Parayana. So engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me. Be completely absorbed in me. Surely you will come to me. Okay. The Lord says that manmana. So he says that always think of him. I think 1 minute. We'll just read this purport directly. So this is a very nice purport actually. 1 second. I'll just open this. Okay. The Lord says, Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto. So he says that Manmana, always think of him, right? And then Madhyaji. So worship him and then do namaskar to him. Offer obeisances unto me, right? So if you do this, right, you will come to me, right? So you'll become absorbed, right? And then you'll your soul will become devoted to me. Again, the same verse it will come in the chapter number 18. Okay. So this is a very important verse where these two lines the Lord will repeat once again. Okay. So Manmana madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam nevashyasi satyam te pratijani priya asmi. So there the Lord says that I'll reciprocate. Okay. So but these things are common. So how do we do a devotional service? We'll have to always think of the Lord, always worship Him, right? So and then we'll have to pay obeisances to Him, right? So that is how one has to engage his mind always in thinking of me, becoming my devotee, offering obeisances unto me and worship me, being completely absorbed in me. You'll surely come to me. So if you do these things daily, day in and day out, then you will come down, come to Him. Sorry. So here in this verse, right, Prabhupada says that in this verse it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of the contaminated material world. Okay. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Okay, so here he says, Manmana. So he says to me, right? He doesn't say to anyone else. But people tweak it. Such commentators do not know. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Okay. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not ordinary human being. He is absolute. His body, his mind, he himself are one and absolute. Right? It is stated in the Kurma Purana as it is quoted by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami, right? In his Anubhashya comment on Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? So this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, 5th chapter, Adi Leela, verse 41 to 48. Deha dehi vivedo yam nishvare videyate kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know the science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of science of Krishna. So men make profit out of misleading people. Okay. So that's the way to end, right? So Lord Krishna has given us how to worship him, right? And then what is pure devotional service, right? And whatever we do, we'll have to what we have to offer, and then whatever we do, we should offer it to Krishna, right? So all these things are beautiful verses, and then Krishna has actually laid us the path of devotional service. So we should know these and then practice whatsoever we can do. Okay. Hare Krishna. Sorry, today our class got extended, but yeah. So thank you. Any questions in today's class?
No, Prabhuji, just that one question where you were saying that why he asked Arjun to speak about
Mataji.
that part. So I still didn't get why.
See, the thing is, for the devotees, right, he can do anything. Okay. So, but the same example which I took in, right? So Krishna took a vow that he will not actually pick a weapon. Okay, fine. So in
Yeah.
Mahabharata, okay. So he said that he'll not actually pick the weapon, isn't it?
Yes.
But he broke his vow,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? But he didn't let the vow of his devotee. His devotee is who? Bhishma Pitama. So
Mm-hmm.
Bhishma Pitama took a vow that he will actually kill the Pandavas on that day unless Krishna picks the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you understood, right?
Yes. 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 Mm-hmm.
So he didn't let go the vow which Bhishma Pitama took, right? Or else Bhishma Pitama's vow would have gone vain, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to actually keep his vow, Lord Krishna was ready to sacrifice his vow.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So he does it. He does it for his pure devotees. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
then the same instance happened. There was another instance. Okay, uh, so in the battlefield, right? Do you know who killed Abhimanyu?
Um,
Jayadratha.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Jayadratha killed Abhimanyu. Okay, and then so this news got, and Arjuna on that day he took a vow. Okay, and then he said that tomorrow Jayadratha is going to be killed. Okay, but he took that vow openly, where everyone could hear. Okay, the Kauravas also heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then what happened is, so the other, if he said that if I am not able to kill him, right? So I'll actually leave this battlefield, or I'll declare myself as defeated or something. He'll tell in this way. Okay. So the thing was, on the next day, if he's not killing Jayadratha, Arjuna has to leave the battlefield. Okay. Or
Mm-hmm.
you think that they are defeated actually.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing actually, the Kauravas will actually get this information, and then they'll actually arrange the battlefield in such a way that to reach Jayadratha, right, it is not possible. And so in a day you can't reach.
Mm-hmm.
They'll actually put so many stages. They'll put the whole this battlefield would be arranged in such a way that so to reach Jayadratha is quite impossible. Okay, because so many layers they'll create, and then so if you actually fight with them, so you can't do it in one day.
Mm-hmm.
So the same day, now this is a vow who has taken. His devotee has taken, isn't it?
Yeah.
So and it was about the time of sunset. Okay, and then Jayadratha is far, far away,
Mm-hmm.
and so now Kauravas are actually they started celebrating. That battle is over. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but there was some minutes. Okay, there were some 5 minutes. Okay, which was left out for the sunset. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so it was about to get sunset, and then uh, actually there was so much of blockage that he cannot fight. So Arjuna, it's impossible to kill him. Okay. So
Mhm.
then the Lord, what will he do is, he knows that in this battlefield, so the situation is in this way. Actually, Krishna will actually cover the sun for some time with his Sudarshan chakra.
Mhm.
So then everyone will leave their artilleries and everything, right? So Kauravas will start jumping, and then so they'll actually ignore, and so everything gets distorted. Okay.
Mhm.
So the arrangement, there is no more arrangement. Everyone is in happiness, and then everyone is started celebrating. So at that time, right? So Arjuna will, Krishna will ask Arjuna, shoot him.
Mhm.
Okay. So because, and then what he will do is, everyone is enjoying, right? At that time, he'll actually remove his disc. Once again, the Sudarshan will come out, and then there'll be light. Okay. And then at that time, he'll actually kill Jayadratha.
Mhm.
So the Lord takes a lot of pain for his devotees' vows. Okay. So that's
Mhm.
the reason he says that you go and actually declare it, right?
Mhm.
So he never actually perishes his devotees' vows. He can actually he can compromise his, but not others. Yeah. In this way.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all for your association. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.